Hello, everybody. This is the CCAU 2G show, episode 21, where we're bringing you how to identify a threatening situation. Now, a threatening situation, unfortunately, is a part of life that you have to be able to identify and make the right move depending on the level of the situation. As always, I did the research and I am bringing you the factual information that could be beneficial for you in case you are in a threatening situation. The researchers have four categories for a threatening situation. And when you're placed in one, this is what they call it: the environmental anomalies, aggressive body language, verbal and psychological clues, and what to do immediately. In the environmental anomalies section, they have what you should look out for is silence, targeting, and lack of coherence. So silence is when you're in a environment and it like a crowd and it's a lot of noise, and then out of nowhere just like a dead silence. And targeting is when you consciously notice that people are pointing you out and basically making you the main character of what's going on in any type of environment. And the lack of coherence. The lack of coherence part is you aren't sure what is being asked or requested, or you know, in the environment or what's going on. So that is those three are signs of threatening situations. The next is aggressive body language: the target glance, the fighting stance, clenched fist and jaw, flushed skin, and heavy breathing. Aggressive body language should always be read, even though I believe body language could be read as something totally different, but researchers argue towards that the body language can be a sign of a threatening situation. And, a target glance is basically, I would assume, a frown face and staring at you specifically. And then the fighting stance, one leg back with clenched fist and a clenched jaw. They're getting prepared to do something to you or the environment. And flushed skin and heavy breathing, those are signs to look at. And great clues to, help you identify the scenario. So then you have verbal and psychological clues. You know, they have the interview, abrupt silence, and direct verbal threats. So the interview is not like going to a job and asking questions. It's like repeated questions from someone who is coming towards you and trying to like ask you, like, for example, like, what time is it, repeatedly over and over. And that's a clear sign of a threatening situation. Then you have the abrupt silence. Like I said before, they come at you, ask you a question repeatedly, and then stop asking you. And then direct verbal threats, we all know what a direct verbal threat, something that could potentially harm you, or, place you in a hospital, or, unfortunately take your life. So you want to use verbal and psychological clues to, help identify that situation. And then what to do immediately. Trust your gut, they say. Create distance, scan for exits. Uh, I feel like that's just one whole line of a sentence. Trust your gut, create distance, and search for the exit is like one motion, not standing there waiting for the next scene and waiting for the next opportunity to answer another question. Immediately, scan for the exit. And the reason why I looked this up because self defense can either, help you win, lose, or, take your life away. But the bottom line, researchers say the duty to retreat is the safest. And when I say, on the self defense, when you win, lose, or have your life taken, win part is, you safely escape the scenario, but you could, win in court, or you could lose in court and then be sentenced to, X amount of time for, wrongful justification of a weapon for standing your ground. Or, the worst case scenario is, you stand your ground and you lose your life. So what is stand your ground? Standing your ground is meeting force with force. When a weapon is displayed, you display your weapon, and any physical advancement or a difference in size, or the number of people approaching you, you stand your ground and you use your firearm to protect you in that scenario. And the duty of retreat specifically says, remove yourself before deadly force occurs. So before the weapon is drawn, you remove yourself. And they use different type of uh courts use like the use reasonable personal standard. So they place a reasonable person in the standard that you was positioned in, with all the facts that you given them and all the facts everyone else giving them, the eyewitnesses. And then that's how, they judge you in court. So proportionality rule, when you match level with level, it could be, considered unproportioned in the court. So that's why they say the duty to retreat is before the weapon was drawn. Did you attempt to make an escape before, person has physically advanced to you with the weapon? And then there is also the size of the numbers that people that come at you. Uh, you know, Unfortunately, the world that we live in and the videos we see online, um, they're all from, this decade. We see different situations where people are placed in uh, environments where, it is threatening and it's very difficult to look at. And we always say, oh, if that was me, I'll do this, I'll do that. But bottom line is the safest way, if you're placed in that situation, is to leave. Uh, I'm not trying to say, hey, that's always going to be the option, because, someone could pull a weapon on you and chase you down, and, you have to defend yourself. So uh, basically, do your research before you go out anywhere in the world, because anything could happen. And unfortunately, anywhere in the world, crime is crime at the bottom of the line, at the bottom of the day. And to keep yourself safe, if you're in a situation where you do have to carry a firearm, use your intelligence to, make things short, get in, get out. If you're going shopping to a store or going to a unfamiliar place for an event, I'm not trying to tell you how to act or who to be, but safety is always everyone's number one priority, even though some who go against the grain, unfortunately. So thank you all for tuning into episode 21 of the CCA YouTube show, where we're just trying to help you be the best person that you are, truly are. Thank you.